With 606 oil fields, the Niger Delta supplies 40% of all the crude oil the United States imports and is the world capital of oil pollution. Life expectancy in its rural communities, half of which have no access to clean water, has fallen to little more than 40 years over the past 2 generations. When an oil spill happens, fires rage, killing vegetation and creating a crust over the land, making remediation difficult. The oil seeps to the ground and flows to the low-lying areas. This spread is worsened by rainfall, which enables oil to run off into nearby farms, ponds, swamps, or creeks. In 2011, the United Nations released a study identifying the Niger Delta of Nigeria as one of their 8 disaster and conflict areas of the world. The United Nations observed pollution at depths of at least 5 meters underground. In some cases, a 3-inch layer of oil was observed floating on the groundwater. The drinking water in these wells is contaminated at least 1,000 times higher than the Nigerian drinking water standard. This drinking water is contaminated with benzene, a known carcinogen, at levels 900 times above the World Health Organization guidelines. 1 in 8 are at risk of dying of cancer. Local communities are aware of the pollution and its dangers, but state that they continue to use the water for drinking, bathing, washing, and cooking, as they have no alternative. The impact of oil on the native mangrove vegetation of the Niger Delta has been disastrous. The pollution has accumulated over decades. And this pollution in the creeks and rivers has left the mangroves coated in a 1 centimeter thick layer of oil. Dying mangroves coated in oil no longer provide a healthy habitat for fish. Fishing is the main livelihood of these communities, so many have turned to illegal bunkering in order to feed their families. Villagers sabotage the oil production facilities and then refine the oil locally to sell on the black market. An estimated 150,000 barrels of oil is stolen every day in Nigeria. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation estimates $2.5 billion in losses as a result of black market activities between 2008 and 2011. The increase in bunkering between 2007 and 2011 resulted in the destruction of over 10% of Nigeria's healthy mangrove cover. The locations at which artisanal refining has taken place present a picture of total environmental devastation. Decommissioned sites like the abandoned facilities in the Ogoni land pose environmental and safety risks. The corrosion of these metallic objects leads to ground contamination by heavy metals. This co-contamination by heavy metals such as barium further complicates this bioremediation effort. 8 out of the 15 decommissioned sites they investigated, sites which have been recorded as fully remediated, still have contamination in the groundwater. The United Nations Environmental Program estimates that the environmental restoration of the Niger Delta could take 25 to 30 years.
Now look, can you see? This is not water. This is paper. Okay. What are you seeing? What are you seeing? What is that?
Blackwood International's technical solutions will heal the contamination in the Niger Delta and throughout Nigeria. We utilize an organic bioactivated based product of non-pathogen, non-toxic bacteria and enzymes designed to accelerate the process of biodegradation in hydrocarbon-contaminated soil, water, and vegetation. Our state-of-the-art technology consumes the hydrocarbons at the microorganic level and then becomes a fertilizer, making the ecosystem new again. With only one application, we restore the biological evolution by reversing the changes caused by pollution. While it takes our competition 60 to over 120 days to see results, we achieve full remediation in 15 to 30 days. The technical restoration process can be segmented into 5 areas: topsoil, groundwater, surface water, heavy metals, and vegetation. With topsoil pollution in Nigeria, we recommend for soil that has been burned that the hard crust is removed and then sent to our thermal desorptor, where the oil is extracted and available for reuse. The remaining contaminated topsoil is then tilled and loosened to provide infiltration alleys. The area is sprayed with water in preparation for the application of our biodegradable cleaner. The soil is maintained in the wet condition to allow the decontamination to continue, and the microbes then leave behind nutrients that stimulate the ecosystem. With groundwater pollution, we recommend that first the excess oil is extracted from the water surface. Then, utilizing infiltration wells, we inject our solution and air into the groundwater system. The well's perforated casing pushes the solution through the groundwater, washing the soil at the microorganic level. The washed out hydrocarbon is then extracted into a reservoir using a recovery well. It then sits for a period of time to further decontaminate. The purified water is then pumped back into the lakes and rivers. For surface water, our solution is aerated and injected underwater through perforated PVC piping to increase and enhance the biological activity of the indigenous microorganisms on site. This process is used to reduce the petroleum particles that have dissolved into the water. The oil that is sitting on the water surface is then skimmed, and our biodegradable cleaner is sprayed on the water surface for further decontamination. With heavy metals contamination, our microorganisms assimilate the metal particles, thus preventing them from further contaminating the soil. The byproduct is left behind to fertilize the ecosystem. With vegetation, our biodegradable cleaner is sprayed on the vegetation and washed by hand. This is labor intensive and will provide thousands of jobs for the people of the Niger Delta. The vegetation is then treated a second time. The solution is left on the vegetation to continue destroying oil contaminants and fertilizing the ecosystem. In 2012, this recommendation was successfully applied in Chinicote, Colombia with Ecopetrol. Oil spilled from an oil duct fractured by natural causes. The spill affected the surrounding ground area and vegetation. We applied the solution locally on the cracked oil duct and sprayed the surrounding ground and vegetation. The site was fully remediated in 4 weeks. After these sites have been decontaminated, we begin the rehabilitation process. Our impact assessment will ensure biodiversity. We work to restore the natural flora and fauna. Blackwood International and its partners are proud of their track record and their positive impact on the environment. We are particularly proud of our contribution through our partner CleanCo in the BP oil spill. 40 vacuum trucks, 80 operators were deployed for emergency oil spill response in the Gulf of Mexico. We provide cost-effective technical solutions to complex problems, and we are the only company that will rejuvenate the Niger Delta.